Stacy Garces here, the Youth and Assimilation Director for First United Methodist Church in LaPorte. It's been a bit since I hopped on here to discuss anything, but today I'm passionate about our topic. I again pray that if this just helps one person, that it'll all be worth it. So the month of September is Suicide Awareness Month, and I am on here today to raise awareness to try and bring hope and light to an epidemic that nobody really wants to talk about. But we can change that. The stigma behind mental illness and suicide really hurts my heart. The fact is that we have to find ways to help people understand that they do not have to suffer in silence. There are people that can and want to help them. Once again, before I go any further or any deeper into this, I want everyone to know that I'm not a doctor, I'm not a counselor, and I'm not a pastor. I'm just someone that God has called to shed light on something that his people are really struggling with. We are losing way too many people to this awful darkness that we call suicide. The thing is that God has called us as Christians to rise up and to love and help and lift up others. When they are in that slimy pit of mud, it reminds me of Psalm chapter 40 verses 1 through 3, and it says, I waited for the Lord, he heard my cry, he lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. Just like with mental illness or addiction, suicide affects all ages, nationalities, and economic backgrounds. Many individuals suffer in silence and do not feel that others will understand them or know how to help them. But once again, there are some things or tools that we can equip ourselves with that may be able to help, or at least to recognize when others are struggling. Once again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a pastor, I'm just someone that wants to help shed the light on this problem. So first off, there is a national suicide prevention hotline, and it's 24/7. And that number is 800-273-8255. Or you can text NAMI, N-A-M-I, to 741-741. Next, we need to remind people that they matter and that they are here for a reason and that they have a purpose and that they are not alone. No matter what they are feeling, what they are thinking, or what they have been through, there is hope. We not always through this, see that hope, not always recognize it when we are in the throes of the dark thoughts. It is no secret that life is hard. It can leave us feeling heartbroken and helpless and hopeless. At times of depression and despair, suicidal thoughts can occur. This is when we need to reach out for help. If you or someone you know is having the thoughts of suicide, reach out and call the suicide number. They have trained counselors and understand, and they want to help. A mental health condition is no different than a physical one. Our brains are the most important organ in our bodies and can get sick just like our hearts, our lung, or our liver. Since September is National Suicide Prevention Month, all month mental health advocates, prevention organizations, survivors, allies, and community members unite to promote suicide prevention awareness. But I want to take it a step further. I ask every friend, every family member, church member to pray every single day for those that are struggling, for their families, and most of all, that they know the love of Jesus, that they know that they are not alone, and that no matter what they are going through or have gone through, there is hope at the end of that dark tunnel that you or a friend or a family member is stuck in. All we need is just a pinprick of light to see the direction that we need to go. So I found this, and it's called Be the One To. And the first thing it says is to ask. And it says research shows people who are having suicidal thoughts feel relief when someone asks after them in a caring way. So findings suggest acknowledging and talking about suicide may reduce rather than increase ideation. The flip side is we also need to listen, to really pay attention and listen about the things that are bringing them pain and potential reasons to continue to want to live, to help them focus on their reasons for living, not the reasons that we want them to live, but the reasons that they want to continue living, to help focus on those. Number 2, be there. This could be physically with them, on the phone, or any way to support them. Make sure you follow through with what you say or you commit to. If you cannot, make sure to have someone else be there for them. It could be life-saving. One of the most beneficial things for somebody struggling is connectedness. So to others, and limiting isolation. I cannot say how important this is for individuals to stay in connection with others and not to be isolated. I know that that's hard in the middle of this pandemic, but this is one of the most important things that we can do, is not to be isolated, not to have the individual isolated, but once again, stay in connectedness. Number 3, keep the individual safe. How? After the ask step, and you have determined that the person may be suicidal and has talked about it, it is important to establish immediate safety. Have them, if they've already talked about doing something or they've already tried to hurt themselves before talking to you, do they have a plan? Do they have a plan to hurt themselves? They could be at a greater risk. Number 4, help them connect. Help them connect by getting support, like the Lifeline. If it's an emergency, obviously you call 911. But another one, if it's an immediate emergency, you call 911. But there's another support system, like I said, it's called Lifeline, and that number is 800-273-8255. It can help when they're in a crisis. It can be a safety net. It could be the support. We could show support in the community, mental health professional. Help develop a safety plan with them. It will help them when they start to feel the severe thoughts, or if just to have a plan in place for the individual when those thoughts start going to even discussing or thinking about suicide. Individuals that call the Lifeline are significantly less likely to feel depressed, less suicidal, or less overwhelmed, and more hopeful after talking to trained professionals. Lastly, follow up after your initial contact and after you have connected them with immediate support. Make sure to follow up with a message, a call, or a text. This is good to continue to increase the connectedness with people, with the individual. There is evidence that even a simple form of reaching out, like sending a card, can potentially reduce the risk of suicide. I know that this is a lot of information that I've covered in a short amount of time, but please know that there are people that care, and if you or anyone that you know needs help, please reach out and call the numbers that I provided in this. Send a text. You can call me, you can text, you can call NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. You can call the church. You can email me at sgarces@fumlc.org. But just know that you are loved and that God has a good plan for you. Remember Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and give you hope, not to harm you." So I hope that this helps you, and I hope that you are a blessing in the light. But just know that we can, during these hard times, lift each other up and know that you are loved and that you are loved by the King of all kings. God bless each and every one of you. Amen.